get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head to my toes. You said some shit that I can't let go, so just stay tuned for the rest of the show.
Thank you so much. Thanks. I know you're both really, really busy, and I really appreciate you taking time out to speak to me. And when I reached out to you, I was thinking about what makes our industry, and it is the people, and what makes my conversations relevant, I hope, to people watching, is that it is about the people and the experiences and what's going on in the industry, and with a focus on what we could be doing better. And that whole life cycle of a member of any organization starts with recruitment. So are there any changes you've seen in the last, I mean, both of you have got really long, successful careers. You've been in the industry, in fact, I'm not going to guess, I'll let you tell me how long. But have you noticed changes in your time with regards to the recruitment pool, the people coming into the industry? Are we getting better at attracting a more diverse range of staff, candidates?
Yeah, I would say, well, I've been doing this for nearly 20 years, actually. Been in the industry for over 20 years. And I have certainly noticed there's more of an appetite for change, and more of an appetite to talk, and more of an appetite to be more diverse and inclusive. And the most valuable asset of any company is its people. So, you know, looking after those people, giving them a voice, ensuring that there's a culture that is able to allow lots of different types of people to flourish and be happy is the ideal challenge. And I think you can't manufacture it. Personally, I think, you know, yes, we do have to be attracting a diverse range of people into our pool that we're recruiting for, and are able to provide those to our clients, rather than, for example, somebody saying, ideally, I would like a woman for this job. Well, of course you may do, because you may have a male-dominated workforce, but I just think you can't design it. You know, it still has to be the best person for the job. But it's, yeah, the challenge is providing, you know, a diverse range of candidates. And from the client perspective, you know, trying to push back on any unconscious bias, and giving people who are different to the interviewer, the manager, the owner of the business, the other people within the company, a chance to be a part of the team and bring what, you know, their skill set and their creativity, because it's proven that it works. And because, you know, people bounce off of other ideas, it brings out different talents and skill sets, and it's profitable for a company, basically. So yes, I've seen a change in the attitude towards this, but obviously there is still a long way to go and more to be done, and it varies from company to company.
Do you agree with that, Matthew?
Yeah, no, I definitely do. Well, I've been in the AV industry for coming up to 5 years now. I think in recruitment in general, 6.5 years. And yeah, there has been, a push for more people wanting to get into the industry, and a push for these people from different backgrounds to actually get opportunities. And it is, to kind of eliminate some of the biases, just to advise and educate and have conversations with the clients about where people are coming from and what they're doing, is mainly just talking about the skill sets. Do you just talk about the skill sets? Like they give you a job brief, they say what they're looking for, this person can do it. And that's mostly what you talk about. Like you say, like, this person can do it. You don't really talk about where they come from or what they've done. And if you just mostly solely spoke about that, then that's how you actually create opportunities for people that are coming from different backgrounds, and also educating the actual client and saying, like, oh, actually, you do need to open up your perspective. And it is about opening perspectives. And that's where being in the middle and trying to help people get jobs and trying to educate your clients, that's where you're in the best place to actually to create that change and create that kind of influence.
What would you say has been the most outrageous thing a client has asked you in regards to recruitment? Because I one thing, as you were speaking, came to mind, because a long time ago I did work in recruitment, but
I think I remember many years ago somebody said, has she got any children? Do you think she's going to have any babies soon? I mean, as if
that's
someone
classic,
would tell me
yeah.
if they had an intention of getting pregnant. But you know, that's an example of you know, a very straightforward bias. And then we do sometimes get people asking about ages. You know, that's still reasonably common, or trying to work out the age, even if we remove it from the CV, really trying to look through, well, when were they at school? And, you know, that's quite a common one, I would say, still at times, is that kind of discrimination.
Yeah, I've had the age, and hasn't happened directly to me, but it happened in a previous company, of like what's the person looks like. They actually, one client actually asked, and then we were like, no. And then they just looked it up themselves and said, oh, it's fine. And it's just like, really?
So I think the worst one that springs to mind was somebody saying, how can we find out if they've got any illnesses or any health conditions without actually asking it? Like, yeah, you don't ask. Can they do the job? You know, and I do understand. I understand what it's, you know, for a small employer, what the, you know, that there are strains. If you've only got a small team and somebody is then going to be off sick or needs additional support or whatever it is, I understand that you know, that may not be an attractive proposition for an employer. But I think there's a lot to be said for actually giving somebody a chance if they have got the skill set and they have got the, you know, they've got something to give, and actually you could negotiate part hours or something to get that person on board. And I'd bet my, you know, bottom dollar that you'd probably get a hell of a lot more loyalty from that person as a result, and a lot out of it for taking a bit of a chance with them.
Absolutely. I mean, we've seen it with candidates, and we've seen it in other situations where let's say somebody's been sick in the industry, they've maybe had a, let's say, heart attack or a stroke or something like that, and then they recovered and they come back in, and of course they have to say, I had this bit of time out because I was sick. And the good news is there are people who will embrace that still, because and I've seen it where, as I say, some tragic things have happened to people, but they've come back into the industry and then they've secured another job and they've gone on to flourish. But as I said earlier, it's a case-by-case situation, isn't it? And I think a culture of a company is bred from the top down. And if you've got an open-minded, inclusive culture where people can, you know, not just judge on that one situation and look at the bigger picture, then, you know, there are still opportunities in these situations. But it really does vary from company to company, I think.
What would create a level playing field? What kind of things could employers do to maintain that, because they want to maintain it, not because it's the law and they have to?
I would say, to create a level playing field, we need to probably have diversity top to bottom in companies. If we had that, then there wouldn't really be any, or there will be, but not as much biases, because the company will be a reflection of the world itself. So like, companies don't really mirror what you see in the world sometimes. And so the companies try to reflect and mirror what they have in their own company instead of actually what's going on in the world. And when they see the world, they're just like, no, that's stick to how we're doing. But then if, for instance, they were mirrored, then yeah, there wouldn't be any boundaries, so to speak.
Such a good point, because it's about having balance.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. You know, the more voices you can have and the more people you can engage, and it doesn't mean if you employ sort of 400 or 500 people that absolutely everybody's got to be involved in everything, but it's about representation. And why wouldn't you want to have representation from across different levels in your organization as well? And I've seen some really good models of some organizations where actually the senior management isn't made of, it's not about seniority, but it's represented from every level of the organization, and they come together. And I've seen that in education. A lot of schools work that way now, where they have not a user group, but a kind of team that actually influences policy and practice. But they're not necessarily with those titles of sort of executive level titles, or, you know, they're not directors. They may be somebody from administration right the way through.
Yeah.
And I think that is a really brave approach, but amazing, because it can only give you more perspectives and make you stronger as an organization to actually develop that kind of thought where everybody's valued.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would just feel that was a very open culture, wouldn't you? To be able to talk and to be able to communicate at all levels, because you've got representation at all levels where people feel, yeah, well represented and well supported in whatever they're doing. Yep. And whatever level they are, that they have a voice. And I think that's just so important, is being able to listen to people at all levels, and not, you know, I know there's a natural hierarchy in many companies, but, you know, more of an open door type policy and I know there are companies that do change the structures, so they've got, you know, they're sat out with the team rather than having managerial offices and so on. And again, just being really accessible and really within the team.
I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no, I don't take shit.